Like, share and subscribe to Film Companion. Almost none of the superheroes in The Boys wear a mask. What would be an odd choice in any other comic book based show, however, makes sense here. In this universe, being a hero is less about doing good and more about being seen doing it. There's no act of courage that can't be commodified, traded for sponsorship deals and red carpet appearances. This Amazon Prime Video series might visually resemble a superhero show, with massive action set pieces and CGI enhanced displays of power. But it's narratively at its smartest when it's deconstructing celebrity culture. Some of its best scenes explore media manufactured imagery and the way narratives can be crafted and recrafted to benefit a person in the public eye. The most perceptive point season 3 makes is that while almost none of its superheroes wear a mask, figuratively every character does. The soups sell lies to the public only for their reassuring smiles to drop once the camera stops rolling.
Just a man who fell for the wrong woman. But out of crisis comes change. Out of crisis comes change. So I spent the last year really slowing down and reconnecting with myself.
At various points, the boys lie to each other, if only to protect the people they care about. There's a lot of scheming, plotting, and double-crossing this season, which picks up a year after the previous one. Huey works for the Federal Bureau of Superhuman Affairs, overseeing the work of William Butcher, Frenchie, and Kimiko, who now catch soups legally and through lesser violent methods. Mother's Milk, however, has quit the group to focus on his family. Meanwhile, Homelander, who was backed into a corner by the end of last season, grows steadily more unhinged. His barely suppressed rage builds like the steam inside a pressure cooker that's about to blow at any second. Once the boys realize it's impossible to keep him in check, they reunite in search of a weapon that can potentially kill him. Throughout, the show's imagery establishes the elevated position that soups hold in society, but it also reinforces how hollow their existence is. Superhero imagery is used to sell action figures, frozen food, and amusement park attractions. Season 3 contrasts the shallowness of public image with the depths of the character's self-image, the ways in which they perceive themselves, and the images they're terrified of finding reflected back at them in the mirror. Butcher fears turning out to be like his abusive father, while MM tries to avoid morphing into his neglectful dad. While no new addition to the cast this season is as instantly compelling as Aya Cash was as Stormfront, the show makes its familiar characters even richer. It goes deeper into their past and hints at the alternative paths their lives could have taken. It uses recurring situations and near-identical dialogue between different people to illustrate how some cycles are destined to repeat themselves. As expected, there's plenty of violence on display. The gruesome visuals are accompanied by the sick sounds of bones snapping and guts sliding out of a body with a wet plop. All the behind-the-scenes backstabbing and deal-making this season leads to a stunning episode 6 fight. That's the culmination of a years-long rivalry. It's easy to become desensitized to the gore on this show, given how hardened and jaded its protagonists are by now. But one of the boys' most thoughtful touches this season is to let several battle scenes linger on the children affected by violence, whether it is superhero inflicted or otherwise. What happens to them? This show urges viewers to consider how a single moment of cruelty can damage a young life forever. Even so, The Boys has its fun. It plays around with tonality, crafting sex scenes that are horrifying and repulsive, while simultaneously making some of the carnage hilarious. A chilling examination of violence against the black community smoothly transitions into a snarky take on performative activism. The show replicates the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad in hysterical detail. Another episode features a joyous dance sequence set at a hospital of all places. This is a show in which heads explode like confetti and sex toys double up as weapons. But as thrilling as some of these fights are, some of the show's best depictions of power come from scenes in which all the characters do is talk. The Boys is a sharp study on the true nature of power, the subtle way it can shift between two people over a single conversation, and the struggle to hold on to it. It understands that behind the fierce desire for power is a deep well of insecurity. Anthony Stark consistently delivers the show's best performance, having mastered the dead behind the eyes silent scream, which he utilizes to frightening effect. In a show full of characters with outsized egos, however, Giancarlo Esposito delivers a stellar performance as the quietly confident bothead Stan Edgar. He walks away from every verbal confrontation victorious, without ever raising his voice. One of the drawbacks of this season is its over-reliance on exposition. Characters drop keywords in the middle of conversations, which are conveniently overheard and sure to be essential to the plot later. Newspaper headlines spell out entire backstories. It helps that the actors are uniformly excellent. In a cultural landscape saturated by superhero films and shows, The Boy stands out for its unvarnished exploration of the ugly, unheroic side of superhero nature. Its idols fall off their pedestals. Its gods turn out to be frighteningly human. If the motto of another comic book property is, "With great power comes great responsibility," The Boys warns that with great power comes great depravity, which makes for a much more compelling viewing experience. You can watch The Boys Season 3 on Amazon Prime Video.